We're back for another edition of the Eye on the U Insider. For Manny Navarro, I'm David Furones. Manny, let's get right to it. First down, a tough loss against FSU. Obviously, everyone was very downtrodden after it. But there are some positives that I think can be taken from it. There's the comeback. You were down from 14 points and then took the lead in the fourth quarter. I really like the play of Brad Kaya in the face of a lot of pressure. He made the throws he needed to make, oftentimes getting hit. Threw for 400 yards, a career high, led that comeback. Ultimately, what was the biggest positive to take?
Well, for me, the biggest positive I take is that they were down 20-10 and pretty much completely outplayed in the first half. And then the coaches made some adjustments defensively and had some success. I know Dalvin Cook still finished with 222 yards. He scores the winning touchdown. I know Everett Golson converts that 3rd and 8 after the Canes come back and take the lead 24-23, and they still lose the game. But I think the positive is that this team fought all the way to the end. They had a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. And most Hurricanes teams that we've seen in the past, they kind of just fizzle out. And I think it's a good sign moving forward if you're a Hurricanes fan that, look, these guys haven't given up on the season, and that's going to be a big, important part as the season continues here.
You couldn't take one positive away from what the offensive line did. I mean, the Hurricanes couldn't run the ball effectively. They ran for what was it, 20 yards on the game. Brad Kaya was hit with a ton of pressure. There's got to be some adjustments on the offensive line. What adjustments do you see there, and what other adjustments elsewhere are the Hurricanes making this week?
Well, Golden's been talking about these adjustments on the offensive line for weeks now, about getting Joe Brown and Casey McDermott more playing time. Both of those guys are in the mix today. Nick Linder, your center, was out. He kind of had a little bit of a shoulder labrum issue in the FSU game, toughed it out then. Golden said he expects him to come back to practice Wednesday and to be back and potentially available for the Virginia Tech game. Linder's kind of an important part. You don't want to have Alex Gall slide over from left guard to center. I think Linder's done a pretty good job snapping the ball. There's been no issues snapping the ball so far to Brad Kaya. So I think, look, basically you have 7 guys in the rotation now, including Joe Brown. Sonny Adogwu's kind of been moved back to the backup spot now. Casey McDermott's passed him up at the right tackle spot. In the end, look, these guys just have to try to give Brad Kaya some time. I think, you look at the FSU game, you say, okay, they sacked Brad twice in that. Well, guess what? You have, when you can't run the football, basically the FSU just knows we've got to tee off and just go after Brad all day. They're playing from behind, and I think that was more a product of that than anything else. The fact that the Hurricanes were playing from behind, had to throw the ball because the running game wasn't working. The most important thing this week is to create some balance. Last year, Duke Johnson absolutely ate up Virginia Tech's defense. You're going to need Joe Yerby and Mark Walton to both have good days on Saturday against Virginia Tech.
We get to third down now, and Manny, the last 2 seasons after the FSU loss, you see how the team invested so much into it, and then it leads to ensuing losses in the next couple of games. This year, it's very important for the team. You can't start 0-2 in the ACC. Braxton Berrios was telling us that the ante is a little bit higher. It's very important for Golden and his job. Do you see any differences in the team's demeanor, the way they're approaching the aftermath of the FSU loss this season?
Yeah, no question. I think, Rashawn Scott in the post-game press conference said, look, we're going to feel bad about this for 24 hours, but we're going to come back on Sunday and start focusing on the rest of the Coastal Division. That's ultimately what this team's goal is to win the Coastal. And they've still got that in front of them. And I think, as Braxton talked about it today, there's no question the FSU loss stings. Anytime you lose to your rival 6 times in a row, 5 times under your current head coach, and you got this world of pressure on you to start delivering big wins, you feel that. Everybody lives in the same world, okay? Even if Al Golden says otherwise. We all live in this world. They know they have a lot of pressure on them, but these kids, I've never gotten the sense this year at all that there's any sort of division. I really feel like Golden has the entire team behind him. I couldn't say that about that last year, okay? I think after they lost to FSU last year, you could clearly see there was sort of a change in opinion in the locker room. Right now, I feel like everybody's behind them. But they've got to show up this week, and they've got to beat Virginia Tech. Because if they don't beat Virginia Tech, then this whole thing could spiral out of control again. He might lose his locker room and eventually lose his job at the end of the season. All right, now we flip it to you, David. We talk recruiting here. Obviously, the Canes are 3-2 now. They've lost 2 in a row. What are recruits telling you? What are you hearing them say after the loss to FSU?
Well, I think amongst recruits, there's kind of a split. Maybe some of them are saying, okay, no matter how the season goes, I'm committed to the University of Miami. That's where I want to be. Some of them, though, are kind of want to see how the rest of the season plays out. No one jumped ship after the FSU loss, especially considering 9-point underdogs. They end up coming back in the game. They took a lead and then they lose by 5. They were one possession away from winning the game. But everyone kind of wants to see how the season plays out. If Golden is still there, a lot of the guys are Golden guys, so they want to play for him possibly. And depending on whether he is out or he remains, maybe they want to look to who's next in line for UM on the coaching front.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week. We'll catch you next week.